Attention! And welcome to the Husker Army Podcast. With your hosts, Husker fanatic Brian Knutson, former Husker wide receiver Kenny Cheatham, and Husker recruiting guru Matt Sass.
I don't know what to say, really.
By Barrow. Harburn's got to let it fly. Time winding down. Michigan State gets the W.
Either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished.
Kick is up, and the kick is good. 4-game losing streak is over, and the Terrapins are bowl eligible for the third consecutive year.
We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us.
Purdy gets it off. This is for the ball game. Purdy lofts it up, knocked away and intercepted. Preston Zachman seals it, and Wisconsin is bowling for the 22nd consecutive year.
Good snap, good hold, kick is on its way. It is good! And Iowa has won as time has expired.
Or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Hell yeah.
They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is.
Come on, everybody, fall in, at attention. You are locked into another episode of the Husker Army Podcast, brought to you by the Husker Army Facebook fan page over on Facebook. Go check them out. Become a member, would you? All right, well, I am your host, Brian Knutson, and with me, as always, former Husker wide receiver and national champion, Kenny Cheatham, a.k.a. KC. Joining us today, we are collaborating with the Big Red and More podcast. So joining us today is Andrew and Shawn from Big Red and More. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Great. That clip was hard to watch.
Yeah. I tried to make it as uplifting as I could at the end, man. Try to maybe get those feels a little bit better. It was tough. That took some hours to put together to try and figure out how to make it better toward the end.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to put the turmoil in there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just a given. So, guys, here we are. We got to talk about losing to Iowa in Lincoln, final seconds, 13-10, probably the most heartbreaking loss I can remember seeing us have in some time. In that fashion. We Nebraska'd it the way we've never Nebraska'd it before. And Kenny, I'm going to bring it to you first, man. Because I was thinking of you this whole time during those final minutes. I'm thinking, when's it going to happen? Where is it? And all of a sudden, there it is.
Oh,
What'd you think, Kenny? Were you thinking the same thing, man?
I literally sat here, my mother standing over here for this weekend. And even she was like, What the fuck?
Oh man.
And she was like, "Uh-oh, can you see that?" And then it happened. She's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" She's like, "Oh, those Huskers. It's just always something." So, you know what? It was. Let me see if I can speak clearly. When it happened, I wasn't shocked, but it happened, and I was surprised. So it's a double-edged sword on that one. You know, it was like, okay, maybe we can do something. But how the game was going when it happened, my first thought was, is that a fat lineman that picked it off? All you saw was a lineman and a referee, right?
Yep.
There was only two right there. So I was literally saying, what the fuck was he throwing the ball? So I mean, I don't know, bro. Then the field goal, when I saw him kick the one field goal to Crete, like I tweeted, the one that he missed, and I was like, he kicked that to Crete. That's not even near the field goal.
Yeah.
I said, oh, this is over. This is over. I know where this is going. And I'm sure you guys are like, oh, God, here we go. I'm like, I know where this is going. So it is what it is.
I had already moved on to overtime. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like I had already mentally moved on to overtime thinking, you know what? This is an overtime we can win against Iowa. That puts us in a really good situation, I think. Our offense is better than theirs to score in overtime. Like I had already moved on. And then when
you tweeted about it even.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit. it's hard to go back to we just lost the game when we should have been in overtime. Like it was so hard. Like we were watching it at a bar in Grand Island, and like the whole bar just immediately just went dead silent because everybody had moved into the overtime spot.
Right. They're gonna play a save, going to overtime,
and then that, and you're just like, that just is, and then it goes back into just that is Nebraska fashion right there, right now.
Yeah, and then especially for Iowa to roll out a kicker for his first attempt to win the
and it barely cleared the crossbar.
Like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Well, you had that little inkling of hope too because we'd blocked two earlier.
Yeah. But I was like, "There's no way you get a third."
That's what I said. That's what I said. There's no way we're getting three in one game.
I was just hoping for him to shank it since it's his first kick, like the pressure and everything would get to him, but
it almost did. He almost didn't even have the leg.
That's Iowa.
That's the sad part. Dude, when it went through, it took about 5 seconds for the announcers to even know it did.
Yeah. But that's the difference, though, right? Iowa gets those close breaks, and we don't, you know? Like, that's the difference between the programs, and I don't know, Kenny, like in your opinion, what is it about a team? Is it just their mentality or what on how you get those 50-50s to pull your way?
I think it's mentality. We have to be realistic with what we've been seeing the last couple of years, fellas, and we've seen teams that have unfortunately not been able to win those. And sometimes that can be ingrained in you because it's consistently happening. And when you as a player know this is this is here we go again in that situation. It's up to you as far as how you respond. Sometimes you have to go into, like you guys, I'm sure you heard me say, smart football. And that, like with the throw, at that point you just say, tuck it, run, take the sack, but I don't throw it and stop the clock. But we put ourselves in position to go in overtime. But we trained like that. Do you get what I'm saying? Coach, during our tenure, my time there, Coach Osborne trained us like that. Smart football. You can't push that man in the back. You can't grab his jersey when he's running. You know what I mean? That's why our penalties were so minimal, because we played smart football. And I knew, the coach would say, if you see his back, don't touch him. Or if you know it's going to equate to this, situational. Like Missouri, the Missouri game, we knew that was going to happen. And I told Brian, we knew that was going to happen in the summer. He called that game in 2 days.
Yeah.
He called the Arizona State game in 96 before the game happened. He called the Louisiana Tech game, Coach Solich, but this was even with Coach Solich. They said the Louisiana Tech game was going to be high scoring, and we're going to have to outscore them to beat them. Situational football, knowing and being trained for that. And I don't think they are. And I don't think the players have adapted to the winning mindset. I think they're happy to get wins.
Why
not
is it, do you
expecting to
think
win.
that they try to do the hero ball so much?
I don't know. I don't know if the coaches have faith in them. You get what I mean? From a coaching standpoint, or if they're trying to get them to do it to build that confidence in them. It's hard. You know what I mean? It's really hard. Like I said, and I've told Brian, I never went into a football game expecting to lose or expecting it to be tough. We went in expecting to win, and unfortunately, our program now we're hoping to get wins, and thankful when we do get wins. You know what I mean? That's just a totally different mindset.
Hope don't float. You know,
right?
Yeah. I mean, look at us. We're hoping to get a bowl game as a 5-win team right now.
Yeah.
We're hoping not enough 6-win teams get to go that we can.
Right. Yeah, it's something.
It is. You know, like somebody asked me like if I, how I feel about like the direction of the program, like we're ruled because we're not that far off. I mean, we got one more win than we've had in a while, right? But it's still there. But the things that I noticed and what Kenny was even saying with the penalties, right? Where I do think that the foundation is being built. I'm not saying that it's built yet, but it's being built. Is we were so much more disciplined this year. With the penalties, with the dumb penalties,
especially the last 4 games.
We did have one against Iowa, the late hit out of bounds, but
well, and the push in the back on the INT at the end there, that hurt a lot.
Yeah. But for the most part, though, this season, you saw a much more disciplined team in the penalty area, and a lot of like the dumb penalties, the frustrated, the kid's frustrated, he does something stupid penalties, and it seemed like under Frost, those penalties happened a lot.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the discipline is getting there, if that makes
sense. It was a lot better. Our problem this year, let's just call it what it is, was the turnovers.
That goes without fucking saying.
I mean, we get rid of those turnovers, we literally probably win 4 more games.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
With ease. So I mean, the fumbles, the interceptions, all of that stuff, you got to pay a cost for doing that, and we paid the cost by being 5-7. So
guys, we didn't lose. We didn't lose the fumble, but that one that Purdy had when he was rolling out and getting ready to take off, and it bounced off his knee. I'm like, there's our luck right fucking there.
Yeah.
But he needs to not carry. He needs to not carry the ball the way he's carrying it.
Oh, good Lord!
That was like the third time I seen him carrying it like a loaf of bread.
Yeah, with it stretched out, right? With it stretched out.
Sims does the same thing.
Yeah, they don't tuck it when they decide to run. They're sitting there just carrying it in the hand. It's like, dude, you got to tuck it. Let's go. You're running.
Or put 2 hands on it if you're going to decide if you're going to throw it or not. It's like one-handed, like they're Michael Jordan, palm in the basketball or Dr. J. And then as soon as you get hit, I mean, if your hands aren't that strong, don't do that.
Yeah.
If there's one attribute of Harburg you'd like to instill into both of those guys, it'd be the high and tight carrying. You got to have it up here, hand over that nose, the other part of the nose tucked right into that bicep and the pec. It ain't going nowhere. It should not go anywhere.
Yeah, the thing with him is when he decides to run, he goes. He doesn't.
He's committed.
Pat around out there. It's okay. Boom. I'm sure we can all attest. We saw a lot of Purdy scrambling, and you were literally looking at TV like, what the hell is he doing? And who's he going to throw it to? And then he end up throwing it toward the ground to the sideline, out of the pocket, right? What was that?
Yeah, he was
4
like
or 5 times yesterday.
15 of 28 for 189 yards with a touchdown and a pick.
I think Purdy probably gets that from his brother because it's actually one of his brother's best attributes. Brock Purdy is when he is moving up in the pocket, his eyes are downfield, but the difference is he's an NFL quarterback. He can actually hit the ball where it needs to go. But I think to your point though, is Chubba's doing that because that's what his brother does, but his brother's good at it. So.
His brother is good at it.
Yeah, his brother was good at Iowa State. I don't know why everyone is surprised at his success.
Yeah.
The dude was good at Iowa State. I was like, you know me, and I always hear Brian would tell me, that's an Arizona boy. And like I said, that one bowl game, we had 4 Arizona high school quarterbacks starting in the major bowl games. And he was one of them. I think it was him, Rattler, and a couple more. The one at Oregon, one at USC. It was like 4 or 5 major bowl game Arizona high school boys playing, and he was one of them. And I was like, this dude's pretty good. So I'm not shocked with his brother's story. But yeah, Oh God, this is just rough.
But
It's amazing
he's
to have all those turnovers and still be in the games too.
Now he's a redshirt sophomore, correct? Chuba is.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's a redshirt sophomore.
Yep.
So we still got 2 more years with him. That and
Yeah.
he can, and if you put the work in, I think he'll develop. Like I really do.
Yeah.
Because another thing is, I don't see, and this is my just opinion, I just don't see us going out and getting a portal guy at quarterback.
A
I
good
feel
one,
like,
you mean?
well, I feel like anybody that's coming into the portal, they're going to want a guarantee of starting. Like nobody
Yeah.
worth a damn is going to come in here and want to compete for a job.
Right.
Yep.
And I don't know if Sims is leaving because it sounds like from what I've heard, the only way he gets to leave is if he graduates.
That's what I heard too.
And I don't know if it sounds like he might not be graduating, so he's coming back. Harburg ain't leaving, and Chuba, if Chuba's playing the way he's playing, he's gonna be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the best quarterback attributes, in my opinion, as far as that goes. So I just don't see us going into the portal and getting somebody that's you're not going to go get Arch Manning or anything. You know what I mean?
No.
You're not getting anybody like that. But like even the Tulane kid, I don't know.
No.
If you I just
Do
don't.
you guys remember the last transfer at quarterback we got from Tulane?
Was
Do
that
you guys
was
remember?
That, was that Tanner Lee?
Yeah. How about we not go there? How about we not take a quarterback from I don't care how good they're looking. I don't care what the record is. I don't care what his stats are. No.
Hey, he did get drafted at quarterback though.
Who did Tanner Lee?
God.
7th round
How?
by the Jags.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow, that guy. Hey, he gave the other team. I remember, if I'm correct, wasn't he the one giving the other team a lot of points?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of pick sixes, man.
Woo.
Yeah, that's fun.
And to point out how Purdy's doing right now, I mean, Kenny can attest to this. I have been his biggest critic for the longest time. Because, look, everything I saw out of him, did I know that his groin was injured? No, that hampers a mobile quarterback, a hell of a lot. But at the same time, I didn't see the arm strength. I didn't see the accuracy. I didn't see the speed. I didn't see anything they were telling me about him in last year's spring game, the spare time that he played. This year's spring game looked all the same to me. And then all of a sudden, the guy comes in and he looks like the guy we probably should have been shooting with from the start of the season. Son of a bitch, I had to eat my words last week. I had to publicly apologize.
Me too. I had to open with a public apology to him.
So did I.
A little bit to your defense, though, too, is like what you did see is what you saw. I mean, you're not wrong in what you saw. But Frost wasn't developing players. And this isn't a shot at Frost. What it is he was coaching for his job.
Yeah.
He didn't have time to sit there and develop anymore. Like he had to go win and win right now. And so that's why, Casey Thompson comes in, he goes and gets a receiver. Like he wasn't there at that point from like last year, maybe the year before. He wasn't developing. He was just trying to coach his way into another year. If that makes sense. So like Purdy and Harburg and stuff like that, they didn't get any extra work. He just went straight to this is what we got to do. So I think now with Rule having some time, he's able to develop those guys into what they want to do. And your receivers are super young. And Kenny, you can attest to this. Like, there's a big difference between a freshman receiver going up against a junior or senior corner.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting open in space and getting,
I got my ass taxed my whole freshman year with Barron and Tyrone out there. So yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's why I'm not really ready to get on Satterfield's ass right now, just because of like I think you have some talented receivers, but they're young. They're super young. They have to develop a little bit. Your line needs to get a little better, and quarterbacks need to develop.
Yeah, I think it was easier for Jalen to make that adaptation to the college level because of the size and all of the other things he can do. For someone like Malachi, it was going to take going into the next year because of his size and strength and stuff like that. He's not mature enough mentally to know how to use his body. You get what I'm saying? So you'll see more from him, a lot more from him next year. So, but with them getting reps with the other guys being down, it's sped up their process. So they'll be much better next year. Absolutely.
Well, and and that's the same thing. I would say the same thing for Malachi Coleman too. Like that he doesn't know how to use his body yet. Like he's six. What is he? 6'5"? He's 6'5", isn't he?
6'3",
He's a
6'4",
big
about
target.
He's
a
big,
target.
tall, fast. Get him down there, get him into some 50-50 balls. But it's a difference from a freshman doing a 50-50 ball and a junior doing a 50-50 ball.
It's night and day. I can tell you personally, between my freshman year and coming out of spring, I was totally different. Once I got into spring and being in that freshman year, everybody was putting a torture chamber out there. They just couldn't do anything with me. It was, but that was me learning how to use my size and use my body and get off that, because now I'm getting reps against I was getting reps against NFL players. So learning that type of stuff, learning what I need to do, making that adjustment. So not just going out there on skills. So they're going to be a lot better next year. Watch, it's going to be 9 days.
Yeah, I think our coaching staff now, guys, I mean, I know Satterfield gets a lot of shit.
Yeah, he does.
But come on, it's year one. And look, I bitched about it too when Harburg came in, and it seemed like Sat wasn't playing to Harburg's strengths instead of trying to make him something he wasn't. But at the same time, I get it. Satterfield's got to stick to his guns because this is what has to be implemented. And the thing is look, Purdy came in and he looked a hell of a lot better than the other two. He's got some zip on that ball. The accuracy's there. That ball to Bullock, that was a huge gain. 3rd and 11 in the second quarter. Great route by Bullock. That was a great break. I mean, he made the corner damn near fall on his ass. So I love that. But yeah, Purdy, he surprised me, and we can now see what he can do fully healthy.
Well, the expectations just went up too.
Yeah, and like this run he's got right here, this is what he can do, and that's how you run a QB draw, folks. I'm sorry. Every time I saw Harburg do it, it scared the shit out of me because he stuttered. He was unsure of when to go. I'm like, you just go, man. So I got to give it to Purdy. I'm sorry, Chubba, for everything I have said for the last almost 2 full seasons, man. Finally got to see what you could do fully healthy. Damn proud of you. So, running backs, though, guys, holy shit. Were we banged up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emmett's going to be the guy, I think, though.
He's good, man. He's
Well,
Mr. Minnesota for a reason.
Ramirez coming back, right?
Yeah, I've been talking to him personally. Yeah, he's chomping at the bit, dude.
Good.
You see him coming back. You see, well, then what about Irvin?
Gabe Irvin.
Gabe Irvin. Is he coming back for sure too, or?
He's got to be. I don't see him going anywhere.
Gone, right?
I think Grant is the only one leaving.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Well, he's a senior, right?
Yeah.
He has to. Yeah, he's a senior.
He's got no choice. It's not like he's saying, fuck this, I'm out of here. So
it'll be interesting, I think, to see what the attrition's like this coming up here in the next couple. December 4th is when the portal opens.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's gonna be something.
Well, and Nebraska has to get rid of guys because your class the class you're bringing in is too big already.
Yeah.
Right. So your coaches are going to have to go have a conversation. Like maybe this isn't the best place for you. Type of deal, because you have to get rid of guys. So and I don't know. And T-Bird and I were kind of talking about this. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on White leaving? You think he's here or there? What do you guys think there?
I hope he stays. I mean, I want to say he's going to stay with everything he said, especially the great things he had to say about Rule and the opportunities that Coach Rule's given him and everything. I kind of tend to believe he's a loyal guy. He's going to stick with Rule. But at the same time, look, man, we don't know. We just don't. Money can talk.
I think Ty Robinson coming back says a lot.
That does say a lot
about him coming. I think that's, for me, that's kind of the selling point on White coming back, actually.
Yeah. I like that.
Because I think Robinson could go get drafted right now if he wanted to.
He put enough on film this year.
Woo-hoo, did he ever? What, 2 blocked field goals this season for him alone?
Well, he's in the backfield constantly at the end of
just
the year.
The way he's taking up space, on that line. You know, not everybody needs to have a sack or anything to be highly efficient on that defensive line. A lot of times, especially in the middle, you just need to take up some space.
Yeah, to free up the other players. Absolutely. We've watched and seen a lot of players get drafted because of that.
Yep.
Clog up space.
Sue did it for Crick.
Yep. So and I just think that's kind of
great game.
I just think it's kind of telling with him coming back. I feel like there's some confidence in White staying then, if that's the case. Because I don't think he'd want to go. I don't know if he'd want to stay for another defense either coming in. Because I don't know who else runs a 3-3-5 either.
And they're thriving on that.
Yeah,
I've been vocal about that as well this season before it even started. That scared the shit out of me when they announced that that's what our base defense was going to be. I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, do we have the right personnel? Do we have the D linemen that are tough enough? Do we have the linebackers that are tough enough that are going to need to fill those gaps and everything? Sure shit, we did. These coaches had these guys ready to go. And our strength and conditioning coach, I've got full faith in him. That guy has turned these guys into looking like a team at least.
Well, then, and you're going to get more results coming in, the longer he's here. You get into that year 3 or 4 with that same system. It's going to be, especially like guys like that Lindhart kid. Boy, I'm so excited for him. He's a true freshman, man. That dude's a man. He's a man.
Yeah, he can go.
At 18.
Is Bayer a senior?
Who?
Bayer was only a junior, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Now, do you say it Bayer or is it Gabayer?
I think it's just Bayer. I think.
Okay, I thought the G was completely silent. I didn't know. I called him Gabayer for like half the season. I didn't know. But yeah, you look at that defense. We only lose, I think, 3 guys to graduation.
Yeah,
and that was Reimer, Newsom, and one other.
Not Heinrichs, is it?
Oh shit! Yep, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And he got injured towards ACL anyway. So
which
God,
should
that
have been
sucks
a fucking tripping.
Yeah, yeah.
On when Braylon Allen tripped him.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
Oh yeah, the Wisconsin game. Yeah.
If nobody could tell, we don't give a shit about our fucking language today, folks. We just don't fucking care. So I don't know. Offensively, look, going into next season, our leading rusher can't be our quarterback. Period. No. Cannot. I mean, even in that game, Purdy was our leading rusher at 42 yards. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
We're pretty
Should
young.
not happen.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but we're pretty young on the line yet.
Yes.
Aren't we? Like we lose Newelly. Newelly's gone.
Yep.
Right. But that's the only one that's gone, isn't it?
I don't think Piper will come back.
Okay.
Is he a senior? Oh, okay. You think he might take a medical?
That's what I'm wondering. He's been hurt a lot, man.
Are we sad about that?
I mean, anytime you have experience, I'm never going to be bad at it,
Right.
But
offensive line penalties did come down after he was out.
Sure. No, I get it.
I'm just saying. I'm not trying to single him out. I'm just
right.
Actually, I am. I'm fucking singling him out. It doesn't fucking matter at this point.
I mean, you got to get better there, but you also have some young guys that I feel like we're from the first game of the year till the last game of the year, our offensive line did get better. It did show improvement. So with an off season, you get some guys coming in, you're going to have some guys that are actually have been sitting back too, that are going to get some shots at play.
Has Ben Hart announced if he's coming back? Because he's a junior, right?
That's a good question too.
Because he actually had a good year.
Is that number 0, big boy?
No, offensive line.
Right.
The big one. Okay.
Yeah.
54?
Yep, 54.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Uh-huh.
He was atrocious the last 2 years, right?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Is that the really tall kid?
That's Corcoran and Teddy on the left side. They're the tall.
Prohaska.
But I bet he's still like 6'7", isn't he?
Yeah, but when you've got guys at 6'9" and 6'10",
Teddy's the biggest.
Holy shit.
Teddy's like 6'10" and Corcoran's like 6'9".
Like, I feel bad for any quarterback that's like under 6'4".
Yeah, how do you throw through the windows?
trust me, it sucks. I'm
You
5'6",
move
and I
around.
was a quarterback in high school, and I had linemen that are like 6 feet tall. Man, I had receivers say the funniest thing they ever fucking saw was going for a fly route and just seeing a ball pop out from behind the offensive line. I'm like, yeah, because you can't fucking see where the hell I am, but I see you. That's all that matters. But yeah, that sucks. It really sucks when your offensive linemen are that tall.
Damn.
I've heard some comments that people think that our offensive linemen like Prohaska and stuff are almost too big to play. Like their feet,
wonder.
like their footwork ain't. They're just they're just too big. Like type deal. And it seems like if you kind of go back to back when you had like Rob Zadiska and stuff like that, those guys, they're 6'4", they're big, but they weren't like unathletic big, if that makes any sense.
They were lean 300 pounds with Aaron Graham being the only one under at like 289.
Yeah, but they could move, they could hit that drop step and everything.
Zach Wiegert, the dumbest one on that offensive line, would be 40 yards downfield blocking a safety, and you feel horrible for the kid. And I'll say that about Wiegert because he's from my hometown, so I don't give a shit. So yeah, Wiegert, you were the dum-dum on that offensive line. You were the quintessential, I don't know, Pro-Magnon caveman on that line, I guess.
So yeah,
he'll never be on the show anyway, so I don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah. There's no way we're ever having Jason Peter on our show. So.
Oh God, dude, that guy. I'll tell you what.
If we did, he'd beat the shit out of me, probably. So.
Have some choice words for old Jason, did you?
He was a great player. Just he
was
like. Just it's actually, and the more I read, or the more I read about it, it's actually his brother and was more out of control than he was when he was here. Jason didn't get out of control until he was in the pros.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jason was mimicking Christian. We didn't see.
I was gonna say Kenny's got Peter Brothers stories, dude.
Those are off the air stories though, Kenny.
No, I mean Jason was cool. All the wild stuff was after. He was chill, man. He that was all a show. Yeah. Jason was real laid back, man. He was chill. He talked crazy, not to everybody. He talking stuff, and he was cool, man. So all the other stuff, like we said afterwards, that was wild to me hearing about it. This dude was cool.
What's honestly wild for me to like even see is like how big he was when he played, and then like what he looks like today.
Oh
like,
man,
it's crazy. Like he's a whole different.
So
person,
many linemen that drop 80 pounds when they're done playing. Because they're not eating fucking 7,000 calories a day anymore.
Yeah,
and they're eating for the position, and they're doing all that for the position.
Yeah,
you ever notice how skilled position players like myself and others and all them gain weight when we're done, but the big guys lose a lot? Totally.
Well, I mean, even look at Grant Wistrom. Even as in shape and cut as he is now, he's to me not near as big as he was when he played.
Well, his correct me if I'm wrong, but his wife owns a CrossFit gym.
Yeah,
so
they're
pretty big into CrossFit.
Huge into CrossFit. Now you get somebody like Adam Carricker, holy fuck, the dude's just as big, if not bigger.
But he lifts
when he played.
Like he's still really big into lifting and stuff.
WWE wanted him to sign a contract with them.
Really?
Oh,
yes.
Really? I didn't know that.
Like he goes to the events all the time, takes his kids, gets to go backstage, meet the wrestlers. I think he's met Vince. He's met Triple H. They tried to get him to sign on for like a development deal.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, he's got the build for it. The guy's a fucking monster. But now with the heart surgery he had to have, what was it, last year or the year before? Yeah, I think you could throw that out.
Yeah, that was recently.
Yeah.
But even I see Rob Zadiska at a ton of wrestling meets and stuff like that, and Rob's even he's still a big guy. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
it's nothing, but nothing.
He's not as filled out.
Exactly, But
man, well,
as far as like the size of those guys, though, it's like it's hard to maintain that. But I just don't see the benefit of being that big if you're going to be if you're It's hard. I don't know. It's hard to say because you
Well,
see
it's
like
not healthy, right?
well, you see
It's
like
not
okay,
healthy to sustain that for your
yeah.
entire
But
life.
if you look at like Minnesota last couple, not this year, but the years 2-3 years ago, they had huge linemen and
Oh yeah.
they're nasty on the line. Like it
Mhm.
sucked.
Yeah.
Like it's like so that's where I kind of disagree with the size argument because it's like you see offensive lines with huge dudes that do work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who was that big sumbitch over at Minnesota?
Yeah,
That
I
like
know who you're
7
talking
foot
about. I
tall.
can't think of his name right now.
He
but
graduated last year, and he was a
Yeah.
freaking monster.
He was a problem.
Wasn't it like a blindside situation where the dude had like never played football up until like college or something? He never played organized football up until college, and somehow this dude's like, who knows how big? And oh my god, we need guys.
You're an athlete at that point,
And it's like Wisconsin; they always reloaded every single year with just massive offensive linemen, and now the last couple of years, I wouldn't think that's the case with them.
I don't, man. What Fickle wants to do at Wisconsin just kind of blows my mind a little bit because it's like he's coached in the Big Ten. He played in the Big Ten, and he coached for an elite program in the Big Ten. Like he has to know that offense is not going to work continuously in the Big Ten, right? Like he knows that.
Oh, he's sure as hell going to try.
That's just wild to me that he's going to do that. It is. It's just wild to me. Like I'm glad. I hope. Yeah, keep doing it. You keep doing it.
Sometimes these guys' egos are just too big.
I agree with that.
I mean, like I for me as someone now, I get the money aspect of stuff, but my ego is such to where I could care less. I would have stayed at Cincinnati, especially when you have something rolling. Why do you leave that? Now I do and I don't get even the Oregon State's guy decision. That's because of the conference and what's going on with that. So I kind of understand it. But when you have something going, why leave? So I understand why Stoops is not leaving Kentucky, even though they had a down year this year.
That's hilarious because A&M thought he was coming.
Yeah,
like that was real.
Like, I just don't get it. You know what I mean? I sit back and I look and say, and honestly, I'm going to say this. You know who else I thought that was when I said, "Oh, this guy believes in himself."
Scott?
Matt Rule when he was at Baylor and he went to the pros.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
I said, "Oh, he really think he's something. Why would you leave that?" And he got there and it was nothing. So,
do you think that's a little bit more of just you finally have a chance at the NFL and it might not ever come again, so you might as well go try it?
Yeah, but swallow your pride. Sometimes you have to know yourself. You're not in position. I always tell people there's different type of coaches. There are coaches who are good college coaches. There are some who are great college coaches. I'll give you basketball as the number one example. Pitino, Calipari, all these guys are great college coaches. Now, Pitino get actions in restaurants, on tables, but they can't coach in the NBA because you know why? It's not about them in the NBA.
Yep.
Nobody's coming to see you, John Calipari. Nobody's coming to see you, Rick Pitino.
Yeah,
but their ego is such as I can go up here and do. No, stay where you're at. Be great on the college level. Be smart like Coach K. Stay on the college level.
Go coach USA basketball or something. Outside of that, yeah.
Yeah, but some of these coaches like Fickle, I don't know. When he took the Wisconsin job, I went, "Oh, that wasn't good."
Well, and kind of to your point too is like what I've heard about like Urban Meyer and Nick Saban, like the type of coaches that they are. They're so like egotistical. Like it's like everything is there with like coffee's 4th and 1. Everything's that. Well, you can't go to the pros and treat those guys like that because they're gonna just they're like, screw you, man.
Because they have the. And this is, and I'm glad you said this. And this is why I get on people and individuals when they talk about the transfer portal. When you're a college coach, you can determine a kid's future on whether or not they go to the next level. And and Brian has heard me talk about this. There are, like I said, there are guys on our team that play with us that you guys may have saw and they pumped out and you thought, oh, he's really this, and they weren't. When we knew the other person was better than them. That alters futures. So when you get these egotistical, the Myers, the Sabins, with college kids, they can screw kids over. So now kids are in the position like, F that. I'm not dealing with this. I don't got to deal with you. Let me go for somewhere else and play. And a lot of times people think it's playing time, which sometimes it is. But sometimes a coach might just not like the way your mannerisms because you're quiet, because you're not a rah-rah guy. You guys know that. There's in regular life jobs, there are managers and supervisors whose favors a lot of times ass kissers and people who are more like, oh, I'll do it, rather than the person that's just about their business.
Right. Yep.
That's going to come in, do their job, do it accurately, and go on about their business. I'm not here for the other stuff. I'm just here to do it. So for, like you said, with them, because they can manipulate these kids and bully. They can't do that with the pros. Hey, dude, I'm making $20 million, $30 million. Who you bullying? Especially in NBA, because it's guaranteed. NFL, they can kind of screw you because they can cut you and play with your money.
Yep.
So that's why the egotistical, the Parcells, and all those, the Belichicks, and all those guys,
about the only people they can bully are their assistant coaches, really.
Yeah. Belichick and them could do it with the players. He was just fortunate enough to have TB. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and Parcells had some guys too, LT, Sims, and all, Big Morris, and you know what I mean? So,
man,
I totally agree, bro. So, but I mean, I don't know if Fickle's doing. I don't think it's going to work. I think he'll be out of there in a little bit because Wisconsin, which we all know, is based off of Nebraska, and they're used to a certain thing. Like you said with the linemen, how they would replenish. That's what we used to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing.
Well, I mean, Nebraska's put out a blueprint on how to win, and they also put out a blueprint on how not to win. They've done both.
We've been putting that blueprint together for like the last 7 years.
I mean, hot ones.
Yeah, it's wild, man. So, Kenny, have you had a chance to meet Rule or anything? Like, do you get to go back and, like, as a former player and stuff, have you had a chance to go back and meet Rule or talk to him at all? Or
no, I didn't get to talk to him. Well, I was there the weekend of the Purdue game.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there the weekend of the Purdue game. Yeah, still,
caught himself some bronchitis.
Oh
yeah. Hey, in third person, Kenny does not do the cold weather. So, I didn't get to see any of them because they practice in the morning. So when I got there and I went up on the campus, I saw some of the counselors, Mama Kim and Dennis LeBlanc, academic counselors, been there forever. I went up there, saw some of the stuff, and I didn't go in the new locker room. Chopped it up with Coach Brown, and he was talking about, I said, well, any of the coaches here? He was like, nah, they go home because they practice early. And that's when I told him I wouldn't have made it because I wasn't getting up early to be there to listen to people yell and tackle me at 6, 7 in the morning. That ain't happening, boss. That's what I told him. That ain't happening, boss. So, I saw some of the recruiters and they were just like, we would love to see you guys back. Some couple guys in the weight room. And I just said, we have a standard. We want that standard. And I told Brian, I talked about this, I think episode 2 before, and they were talking about Coach Ruth, like, yeah, he's trying to do this and he's making the guys, because I asked where they were eating at, and I guess they eat upstairs above North Stadium. And he was like, no, he wants them to start doing more stuff together. And Coach Brown, we talked about, he said, no, they're not as tight as you guys were. You guys did everything together. But I said, well, that's good. I love to hear that, that they're doing all this stuff together. But I just told him, we have an expectation, and you guys need to understand that expectation. It's because it was an expectation here for almost 40-something, almost 50-something years.
Yeah.
And it's never going to change. And I said, and the reason we're going to be hard on you is not because we're not supportive, it's because we have an expectation. And I said, and if you want to know what that expectation is, and I told Brian is, go ask Matt Rule, what's Penn State's expectation?
Yeah.
And he'll tell you. And I said, you got to understand, our era is, I'm not talking 90s, I'm talking 60s, Coach Devaney, Coach Osborne, Coach Solich. Our expectation is to come in every year playing for national championships. And anything outside of that is a failure. And that's what you hold yourself to, and that's builds your program. Alabama has 1 loss. It seems like a failure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ohio State has 1 loss. What does it seem like just happened?
Oh, you're hearing people talk about getting
Season's
rid
over.
of Day. You know, like get rid of Day. It's like, please do.
He's lost. How many games do they say he's lost since being head coach?
He's like 56-1 against everyone else, and the other losses
1-6 against Michigan.
No, 1-3, but 7-3 the last couple years. But it's 1-6 gets his Power 5
top
BCS,
10.
Top 5, something like that. Yeah.
Tournament BCS championship.
Playoffs.
Yeah, gotcha.
Wow,
it's great. But
and they're talking about getting rid of his ass.
It's crazy,
wild.
right?
Yeah, that's
crazy.
wild.
Has Kenny, has there been a difference in how the alumni has felt welcome back between the last three coaching staffs, or has it everyone just been pretty cool and welcoming?
Well, a lot of us love Bo Pelini. That's just God honest truth. And then you would see like Eric Warfield, Rashawn Jackson, a lot of other guys on the sideline. He had a lot of them helping with coaching. Of course, Kenny Wilhite was there. He'd been there. He was there 3 or 4 regimes. Frost. Yeah, I mean, of course, he's Frost. So of course we go pull up on him like, what's happening, dude? You know what I mean? But it was also they didn't want us to talk about him.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
He still had his little clique.
Yeah, they didn't want us to talk about him.
Jesus.
Now this Coach Rule, I hear it's all good. Players coming back, still a little something, but I mean, I hear it's good, and he's embracing and listening to people, and because, like I said, we're going to be critical, but it's coming from a place of love and support.
Yeah,
we want to see our school and our program do well. It hurts. It's sickening. Like, and I tell people, our fans are the most loyal people. I said they have to be half-ass crazy because they love to suffer every year in recent years with the shit that's going on. And I said that's the definition of insanity. That's the definition of insanity, man. Because I'm like, those people crazy as shit been in that stadium, knowing damn well it's about to be something. You know what I mean? So, but
well, I have it in my mind. We're gonna be 10-2 next year. You know what I mean? Like right now, I already we're gonna fix those little things. We're gonna not turn the ball over. We're gonna be 10-2. You know, like I just have that false. It's false sense, obviously, but
that's good
every year. You know, like it's the same.
I do it every year.
Brian, I can't help myself. I can't help myself.
But the team should have that.
Yeah.
They should have that belief going into it. They should have that belief that we're going in here to win a national championship. And then if the other stuff doesn't happen, it's a failure. But we have something to work on. You know what I mean?
If fans could win games for you, we'd be undefeated.
Oh, we'd be
Jesus, dude.
Well, we win the spring every year. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. We win the off season. That's the easy part. I mean, come on. We don't lose polls on Twitter. Look, it's just, come on, man. That's why it's called Husker Twitter. People just need to get on board.
Yeah.
I think one thing we can all agree on is one thing that really improved besides the defense, which we'll get into in a second, is special teams.
Yeah.
I mean, other than Bashini the last half of the season, what the fuck was his?
I think he's hurt. I think he's got a lingering injury. No one's
got it. He's not booming anything. I mean, he was averaging, I think, 30 yards a punt or 38 at one point. That's horrible for him. But special teams wise, I mean, look, coverage was way more improved. Our field goal, Albano, look, I know he missed horribly to the left, Kenny. I know, and it looks like he's got an issue pushing to the left.
I'm not going to beat him up.
No, and he's a true freshman.
Every game that he misses, though, he misses one every game like clockwork. So,
and it's okay.
If he could just be more consistent, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think we're going to get that. He's not Ohio State boy. You know, I'll never forget
Lightborn?
Yeah, the frumpy dude with the onside. I'll never forget that.
With Alvino though, like, okay, you know, to be a place kicker like that, like to be something solid, you know, you have to be icy. You know what I mean? You have to have ice in them veins. Is that a developed thing? Because he's only 18 years old. I mean, he's a true freshman coming right out of high school, and he's been put into some tough situations. You know, big moments.
He's got to have a little. I mean, he's hitting 55-yarders and shit. He's got to have a little bit.
So, I mean, is
1 year ago hitting a field goal to win a state title? Exactly about a year ago.
So are we going to see 3 more years of this inconsistent one, we're going to hit a 55-yarder, but we're going to miss a couple of 25-yarders, or
that's the thing.
Is that consistency as he gets older? Will that consistency get better? And I'm that's a question I'm really asking because I don't know. I don't know how that works for kickers.
I would like to know honestly what the kickers are doing in practice.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you why. I'll never forget. We had a meeting. Coach Osborne said, I guess the kickers used to big kick it in practice. And due to the Florida State game, he said, I will never. He used to have them involved in practice with everything else, passing drills, holding dummies. They weren't just doing their little stuff and standing on the sideline playing kicking games. And Brian has heard me talk about this. So he needs to be more involved and understand that situation, not just, let's just run out here this amount of time on the clock, because that's not a reality. Put the pressure on him. Like Chris Brown was a dog, and I'll tell anyone this. This dude was a quarterback in high school. This dude played safety. This dude will blow your head up. So you imagine you got an aggressive kicker who's a dog. So those pressure moments, which were few, didn't matter to him. He was going to go out there and
football
get it
guy
done.
who happened to kick the ball.
Well, that's what Sam Foltz was. Sam Foltz was he's one of the best wide receivers in the state of Nebraska at the time for senior high. He was a safety for senior high too. Like he played both sides of the ball. Like so what you're saying there, I absolutely get that. Like,
yeah, he was a dog. So I mean, sometimes you have to, if you're a kicker, this is your moment. Own your moment.
Yeah.
Own your moment. Now you're going to miss some. I get it. But you need to own your moment and put it all into it. Because I tell people, don't tell me about them kicking 60-something yards and all this in pregame. Because when that pressure's on and that sphincter muscle getting a little bit too tight, that pressure will make a lot of them fold. We saw it, what was that, last year? Ohio State kicker in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about it though. Like you're literally only coming on for like 3 or 4 plays,
maybe.
And
maybe.
And you're just sitting there waiting, and then it's like, oh shit! All right, now I got to go, and now I got to be on.
Are they engaged on the sideline during the game? You know what I mean?
Right.
You keep them engaged. You come up here, you stay engaged and see what's going on and see what we're doing offensively and where you might be at if we can't get this first down to kick the ball. Go warm your little leg up, but you need to be engaged. They really need to be engaged. So this is my thing. But he's young. Hopefully he gets better. I mean, it wasn't bad. Everybody on here can say we've seen the worst the last couple of years. Shit. It was. Yeah. We don't know what was going to happen.
I was just watching a replay of it's one of the years with might have been Frost's first or second year.
Oh man,
we had Northwestern in Lincoln. We had all those kicker issues, and I forget who it was that kicked the. Yeah, was it Lightborn that kicked the game winner? Because they said it was a walk-on defensive back.
Yeah,
that they had come in to kick that thing.
Crossbar.
He barely cleared it.
Yep.
Barely cleared it because they go, the fans will let you know if he made it, and there's just quiet until he hit it.
Yep.
But yeah, they said he was like a backup defensive back, and he was in there kicking a game-winning field goal. Yep. That's worse than what Iowa did to us. I don't care. That's way worse.
See, we used up our luck then, and then Iowa stole it from us.
Yeah, no shit. Fuck. But yeah, special teams, it was way more improved this year. A lot of kickoffs into the end zone, a lot of touchbacks. That helps, especially on coverage. Punt coverage was way more improved. Ball security on punt returns, in my opinion, was improved. The lack of returns, though, that sucked.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I don't think special teams really lost us a game, in my opinion. The offense could have done a lot of things to relieve the pressure off special teams.
Yeah.
Maybe. Go ahead, Andrew. Go ahead.
I was just trying. I mean, to your point, yeah, special teams definitely lost us some games last year, for sure. And they didn't this year. But to the return yards, I mean, Shit, we set our over-unders the last 2 weeks for return yards at 5. 5 total yards. Like, you can't have that at all.
But I mean, and I know this shit happens sometimes, but it seems like here, like 18, he's had a couple of punts where it's like 18 yards. That ain't doing shit for nobody.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not saying that lost you a game, but that sure in the hell didn't flip the field,
No.
where it needed to be.
Look at the guys in the stands cheering for Iowa's punter that had the sweatshirts that just said punts.
Yeah.
I had to admit, I got a chuckle out of those guys every single time. They yell, punt, punt, punt. I'm like, Jesus.
Though, realistically, like watching that Iowa game, like he's the number one punter in the country and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best game against us.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. He had a couple of short punts that put us like he couldn't flip the field on us.
No,
that's a guy that should have been pinning us, and he had a few that he was kicking from the 50 that he should have put us down inside the 5, and he couldn't do that either.
Buschini might have outpunted him in that game,
and he might have. So
Damn.
that's what's
things that could go right, and then the shit that just goes wrong.
Well, it's like what I was pissed about when we go, going back to like the Wisconsin game. We finally have a game with no turnovers, and we fucking still lose. Like, make that make sense. We go and have 5 turnovers against Maryland and lose by 3, and then we go into overtime with Wisconsin with no turnovers and still lose a game. Make that make sense. Like, you can't. Like, it's
the Michigan State game. We had no penalties. And that had never happened in my fucking lifetime. Yeah. So, Kenny, your camera went out. Did you do that on purpose?
Accidentally. I'm gonna restart it in a second, but I'm here.
Oh, okay. I love the disembodied voice. Fucking it's so hilarious.
Yeah, I'll chime back in a second. Let me.
I thought that was a Snoop Dogg song about ready to come on. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh God.
But yeah, and I do agree with you guys. I mean, like the special teams compared to where it was 2 years ago and last year, like, yeah, dude, it's night and day difference. I mean, I think Bill Bush did a good job last year of fixing some things there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a guy that I wish would have stayed on the staff as Bill Bush.
Yeah.
I really liked him. But yeah, 2 years ago, that special teams shit was fucking wild. It was wild. Like, you just like, how can you be that bad at it?
That was one thing we talked about. I think it might have been with Gen Red, maybe before the season started, and it was about special teams. It was the one thing that nobody had actually brought up because it hadn't cost us anything. It was the first time in like probably 5 years nobody brought up special teams. And that's, in my opinion, a good thing. If you don't bring up special teams, that means they're doing their fucking job.
Same thing with offensive linemen.
Yep.
Yes. You'll never hear about what they do, but that's because they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I even think that's true for a lot of, even like your secondary. Like if you're not getting called out because you're getting burned and shit a lot, you're doing your job.
Right?
Yep.
That secondary, that is the part of the defense that spooked me for most of the season. I got to admit. It was the soft spot, not the weak point, but a soft spot.
Hartzog, I think, just played solid. He played solid. He had a couple spots where he got burnt here and there, but he played pretty solid all year. Yeah. Tommy Hill really stepped up,
Yes.
That's a guy
he did.
He was bouncing back from offense to defense.
Yeah.
And
stop that, by the way. We don't need two-way fucking players. Did Travis Hunter burn himself out?
Yeah. Well, and I think the reason he was working with the offense is because we were so depleted.
Short on receiver.
And then all of a sudden we took a couple hits on the defensive side. And no, you got to move back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like Corcoran a few years ago. We were moving him all over the line. Left tackle, right tackle, right guard. And I was like, those are different reps. Like, those are different situations for that lineman to be in. So how can we expect him to get better when we're constantly changing what we have going on for him? And so, like, to that point, same thing with Tommy Hill. Like, we keep bouncing him back and forth. Like, you're asking a lot there. You got to just let him commit to whatever his best position is and roll with it and get the reps.
And to your point with the offensive line, Andrew, look, I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but when Piper went out and they reshuffled that line, am I crazy in thinking that they played better?
No.
Am I crazy?
No.
No.
Because I think I saw that improvement almost instantly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know what it is in the young man's head, but something's not right.
Well, don't be sorry. Whatever makes us better, we need to do. You know,
I'm really just apologizing to him because I don't know what the hell his problem is.
Are we good with Raiola still on the line?
I am.
What
the job he's done with that patched up line is nothing short of a fucking miracle.
And they've improved.
They did. The hold. I don't remember hearing us getting called for holding in a few games. I don't think.
What do you think the difference is this year? Do you think he's actually getting to coach his O-line the way he wants to?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why they're getting better? Whereas he didn't have the full control and freedom to coach them and develop them the way that he wanted to before?
I think that's some of it, but I also think that, Rule himself is an O-line coach. Satterfield is an O-line coach.
He's had everybody there has coached O-line at one point.
Yeah, so he's got some things to lean on as well.
He's got references.
Yes. And I don't know how much they're like stepping in, but from what I've heard,
but at least throw out a different idea every once in a while.
The one thing that I've heard about Rule is active in every part of the game. That he is walking around and he is active with the receivers and with the O-line and with the he's popping in. I don't know if he's necessarily micromanaging it, but he is there observing. So I feel like maybe if on the line, something that he does know about, hey, I don't think he does it in front of the kids or anything, but then when they sit down in their rooms and coaches meetings, this is what we're wanting. He has a vision of what he wants on that line. I guarantee it, you know, and I think Raiola's probably doing a good job of relaying that message to the kids, to doing what he's doing what you're supposed to do as a coach. We have an adult running the program.
Thank you.
Thank you. A CEO, of overlooking everything and just being like, okay, this is what I noticed over here today. Let's see what we can do on that. Over here, this is what I noticed. Let's see what we can do there. You know what I mean? Like, it's an overall CEO mentality, not just, well, I do one thing and one thing good only. So whatever that other side is, just you guys figure it out on your own.
Yeah, we have the CEO mentality instead of the CEO's asshole son being the vice president.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that analogy.
I've watched too many fucking movies, guys. I've just seen the cliches over and over, and you can apply that to a lot of shit in sports. So
yeah. Hell, look at Ferentz. Look at Iowa.
Oh, jeez. Dude, they've got to be trying to force him out. They've just got to be.
I mean, what's he do? You just made him fire his son for a 10-win season.
10-2. But they are terrible on offense.
Horrible.
Like I look at Nebraska. Like, what does Nebraska got to do to fix their problems? Right. I feel like you need some improvement on the line, quarterback, and development in the receiving room. Iowa should be there. You know what I mean? That's not that. Brian's been there long enough. Kurt's been there long enough that shouldn't be the issue that they're having. And they've had it. And this isn't the first year of it.
No, it's progressively gotten worse.
Yeah. And so it's hard. It's hard to justify anything with Brian. It really is. Like, I get what they're wanting, but at the same time, they're 10-2. That's the other hard part about it. And then Kurt's got to be on his way out. He really does. I would.
How long has he been there? 30 years? 35?
He was hired. He was hired there in '99.
He's got to be the longest tenured active coach, right?
Yeah.
Yep, they showed that graphic. Yeah, that's ridiculous to think about too. I mean, think about in Osborne's day. Coaches stayed places for almost a minimum of 10 years.
Oh yeah. It wasn't that weird to see a coach for 20 years, 30 years.
No, not at all. And now it's just like
revolving door.
This day and age, we got to have it now. It's got to be now, quicker, faster. Thanks. All right. Shit. Yeah, give Kenny a little bit. He said he'll be right back. He just texted me. So
at least it wasn't Shawn this time.
Right. kind of going back to what Kenny even said, though, a little bit about, these coaches leaving good situations. A conversation that's always been brought up, here of recent, of like coaches that we would get, like Matt Rule or Urban Meyer or whatever would come here. They would leave in 4 years. I still don't think Nebraska is that place. I think if you get Nebraska back to playoff status, like, why the fuck would you leave?
Oh, hell no. Why would
what I mean? Like, you have you're going to get paid. You have the finances here. You have the support. You have all that. So I just don't, so I don't see like Rule. If Rule can get this on the track, I don't see him leaving. I don't see why. Why would you leave?
No.
You've already got the NFL itch out of the way.
Yeah.
That is true. Kenny's right, ego, but Andrew, you're right as well. He's already made the jump to the NFL.
To that point, he's done the ego thing and failed, right? It's humbled him.
Hopefully.
You like to think. So he's back now, but not only, I think Deshaun's point is, well, now we're in one of the best conferences, right? It's us and SEC now. We have the money, right? We have the resources. Like, once we're winning, would any other job besides Penn State, because that's his alumni school, would any other job just be a lateral move at that point if you're actually winning and in the playoffs?
If it's in those two conferences.
Yeah.
If you either say Big Ten or you go SEC, because we're going to be the two mega conferences.
Well, that's the thing, is I think now every coach wants to be in Big Ten or SEC moving forward. You know what I mean? And like, if you have to, then you settle on the Big 12, right? But I think moving forward, especially the way that we see this going with us being the two big super conferences, like now it's like this is the new, these are the two new elite conferences to coach in. You know? So
things that I'm a touch worried about, that I've been worried about with Matt Rule, and like where I wanted a Urban Meyer or a Lane Kiffin or something like that, is because of recruiting, right? So I loved Bo Pelini, but he was not good at recruiting. Like, he was good at developing. He'd go get some 3-star guys that he could develop and make and turn them out a little bit. But like, what could he have done if he would have got some 4 or 5-star guys and with that same development, right? So the things that worry me about Rule, and I feel like you have a short window on this. I was hoping for something better this year, like an 8-win season this year or a 7-win season, that you could really show some improvement. Like, hey, this is what we're trying to do here. We need you to come and get us over that hump, right? And I feel like next year is that window is going to start closing for that improvement to get some of them guys here. Because like right now we've got an okay recruiting class, but you're not going out and getting some of the dogs that you need to go get.
Well, that's like we said going into this year, is we got to fucking win this year, because like with moving to everyone coming in, it's only going to be harder. And this was the year for us to get back going, to start building momentum in that new one, because now it's like what do you got? Like, you can't even win your division anymore because there's no divisions. Like, you literally have to be the top 2 or 3 in this mega conference in order to make a championship. And it's like, it's only going to get harder. And I think without us getting to like that 7-win season this year, it's like, I feel like it makes us fall further behind again.
Yeah, it's going to make it's that like, what can you sell them? What can you sell them on?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You got to get guys into the pros. Like, we have to have more than we have to have more than 2 guys getting drafted. Because, and like what Kenny just said, what are you selling them? What, sweet, we got nice facilities. Well, so does everybody else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Every kid want to do. They want to go to the next level.
Yeah,
right.
And you got to start getting guys in the NFL. And I'm hoping next year that you're going to see. Hopefully we can have 6-7 guys get drafted, because you need to get back to that status. Like, okay, here, this is what I can do for you. I coach in the NFL. I have connections in the NFL. I will get you drafted. That's the selling point. You have to go recruit those, but you can't do this with. I'm one of those guys that I'm always torn with the 4-star, 4-star, 5-star, the star rating stuff. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, Ohio State. Look down the teams. They're getting
the classes that they get. Yeah,
they're getting 4 or 5-star guys that are working out now.
Yeah.
We're getting broken 4-star guys. We got to make those guys work, like. So it's just like, I hate saying that, we need to go get these 5-star guys, but you also need to need to recruit better to develop those guys to make that. You got to make up that difference, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And I feel like that window, and going to what Kenny was saying, what are you selling?
Right. Which I'm glad you said everything that you said, because what was that, a couple episodes ago, Brian? Didn't I say exactly that?
Yeah.
I said it. I said exactly that. I said, when, and I think was it Barron? Was it Barron? I mentioned it on. I said, old Nebraska was a farm system.
Yeah, it was
to the
Barron.
NFL.
Yeah.
You knew when you went there, this is a farm system. What is Ohio State? What is Alabama? What is Clemson? What is Michigan? What are all the top teams? They're farm systems. So when you're going into, and you're a blue blood program, and you're not doing that, that's a hard sell, because what you're selling them is, we want to get back to here, and I can develop you I can get you to this point. But I feel like that comes winning, and winning brings in those kids.
I feel like a big misconception about Nebraska back in the 90s too, and I've gotten into arguments with people on this, is that everybody's like, we had a bunch of walk-ons. We had a few walk-ons, but Tommy Frazier was a parade All-American. Grant Wistrom was a parade. We didn't have 5-star rating. They weren't star ratings, but we had a whole shitload of parade All-Americans on that team.
Blue chips.
On those, we had some dudes coming in. Don't get me wrong. Now a lot of our linemen, our big farm kids, those guys were some of the walk-ons that you're talking about. But
Nebraska boys.
But walk-ons are not the same as what they were last year or years back either. No. With huddle and film and everything else, man. These North Dakota States, South Dakota States, those teams are picking up those diamonds in the rough. They don't. They're not in the same boat. You're not getting those guys anymore.
Yeah, so and people forget walk-ons was, you had your regular walk-ons, but then you had your other not top of the top in-state kids. You say you walk on this first year, next year your scholarship.
Yep.
Yeah.
So which freed up more scholarships for the other top out-of-state kids you were getting.
Yep. So that you can go get your Lawrence Phillips and your
So it was a game that was being played that was.
I just hate that misconception. Like, Tom didn't recruit dudes. That was recruiting dudes.
What the walk-on program, all the walk-on program did was
standards away. Like
it gave those guys just an abundance of talent to practice against every single day.
Right.
That is what that walk-on program was meant to do. Now, if it developed into a scholarship player or a more developed player that is going to take over a starting position, so be it. That's exactly what it's there for. But at the same time, it's meant to make those starters, Kenny, you can attest to this, it was meant to make you guys that much better because you had that much more to look at every single day.
Right. Exactly. Totally agree. So, Coach Osborne recruited dogs. You don't get – and Coach Devaney recruited dogs. Look at all the guys. And we went everywhere. They went everywhere.
Yeah.
And got players. You know what I mean? I mean, now it seems like we're more isolated. We're going to concentrate on this area. Like, I was talking to one of the young men. He was like, and he's saying this. And I said, bruh, in our whole entire conversation, you didn't mention Arizona. And he was like, well, did you? I said, no. I need you to understand. This was a month ago? I said, I need you to understand what I'm saying. I can give you several college teams right now, and their starters are from the Phoenix metro area that didn't go to ASU, that didn't go to U of A. And I started naming people, and he was like, oh. I said, so you need to start coming back here. Don't just say specific here. People forget Coach Osborne pull from, people will pull from California, Florida, Arizona, Colorado. Washington, not as much. That whole New Jersey, hell yeah, going back to Soligen before. I mean, and Arizona Junior College before that. You know what I mean? It's he pulled from everywhere. Missouri, get back in Missouri.
Yeah, St. Louis. We do not hit St. Louis hard enough at all.
Right.
A couple weeks ago, I made a point on our show. In Nebraska, there is 33 Class A teams. That's the top schools in Nebraska. There's 33 of them.
Yeah,
in
mine's
Texas,
one of them.
In Texas, there's 233 5A teams.
Holy shit!
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a number. I'm not saying that kid. I'm not saying that Danny Kaling can't be a dude, but the competition difference between 33 starting quarterbacks at Nebraska in Class A compared to 233 starting quarterbacks at 5A in Texas, there's a difference.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so that's like what Kenny's saying. Arizona, how many 5A schools are in Arizona? How many 5A schools are in Ohio or Florida?
Right.
You know, like it's completely different.
Right. It's so many now that they have schools. I have no clue who they are. You know, I mean, but yeah, I mean, go everywhere, expand it. Now you have a bigger market because now you can really tap into Cali. Now you can really tap into Seattle. Now you can really tap in. I mean, excuse me, Washington. Now you can really tap into Oregon, that area, because kids. The reason we were able to get a lot of Texas kids is because they got to see. You know, they knew they were going to be on TV in the region. Now with the expansion, you can get those kids, man.
Yeah.
Well, and I think to Shawn's point too, with like Huddle now. Well, now everyone can see your tape. It's not just they have to actually drive and come to your game and watch you, or you know, the right person through your high school program that can send your VHS off to somebody and get it in the right hands. Now it's everybody can just see your shit. You just put it out there for everybody.
A lot of coaches can watch it in real time on their phone as it's
Yep.
happening. They don't even need to be there anymore. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
Yep.
Well, like with my daughter, we're in the recruiting process with wrestling and stuff. And basically what it is she's on a website and what it does is she actually picks the schools that she's interested in for like school wise, like actual, like what she wants to major in and stuff.
Yeah.
And then her videos are on there and it automatically shoots stuff out to these schools that she's interested in. And then they contact her and then it's that's where the recruiting process starts with them. And then all her films on there. It's all there for everybody to see. You know, it's easier for the parents as a recruiting, you know, trying to get your kid noticed. But at the same time, it's, you know, for these guys that are busy in the recruiting thing, they can just click on that website and be like, oh, let's take a look at this and let's take a look at that. And yep. Okay. Now we're interested. Now that process kicks off. It's not hard, but then like you go back to like what Nebraska did back in the, you know, Nebraska was always on TV. Well, now everybody's on TV. So that bargaining chip got taken away, and scholarships, you know, they went from 100 and whatever to 85. That got
and
taken
back
away
then, you know, Texas, you know, your family's going to see you play a game when we go down there, you know, or whatever. Like that was,
and the NCAA's even
the Big Ten.
The NCAA's even put rules on nutrition table. You know, Nebraska was creme de la creme with the nutrition table back in the 90s. Well, now everybody's they've leveled the playing field on that. You can, that's regulated by the NCAA as well.
Yeah, about the only thing
they said we had an advantage.
Yep.
Yeah, I think about the only thing now that somebody could run a monopoly in is NIL money, right? Because everything else is pretty much leveled out.
It feels that way.
Shit, did you hear what Dion said the other day? He's like, we're not an ATM. This school's not an ATM. You come here. You still need to want to come here to Colorado and play for me and play for Colorado. We're not just going to pay you, you know, and it'll be interesting to see how NIL changes in the next 3 to 5 years.
I was kind of hoping, you know, there was some truth to Dion being contacted for A&M. I was like, God, that would just utterly destroy that fan base if that happened.
Yeah, I hate Colorado.
So do I so much. So, I mean, I've told Kenny this numerous times and other people. I am a fan of Deion Sanders. I always have been. But as soon as he accepted that job, fuck him until he doesn't have that job.
I feel like Deion's kind of in the same boat a little bit. Like with when I talk about having a window.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what his next 2 years look like, because I feel like he had a window this year to really do something because he went all portal, right? Like but now he's kind of got to go do the same thing. He's gonna have to go get to the portal and get some linemen.
Yeah, he already said he was gonna.
Well, he alienated his line so bad that ain't none of them coming back. Right?
That was crazy, right?
Dude, what is he thinking?
But things that we've talked about on our show is linemen aren't like the big hitters in the portal. You know what I mean?
No.
Like
Yeah.
if you're a good lineman, you're probably already playing somewhere and you're not leaving.
That's right.
So like him trying to go to the portal to go get linemen is going to be we're going to find out how good of a coach he is here in the next 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially changing conferences again, which Pac-12 was loaded this year, dude. I think they're the best conference this year. Now they're fucking
Yeah, they had their
dismantling
best
it.
run probably in the last 5-6 years.
Oh man.
I mean, look at Arizona.
Yeah.
Soon as that Fiala came in at quarterback,
Yeah.
damn, they started playing.
Yeah,
He's a player. Could we get him to enter the transfer portal? I want him.
And Utah's not going to get worse.
No.
You know, the Big 12 for what it's going to be is Kansas is going to be good again. Leipold's got them guys rolling.
Man.
Kansas State's going to be one of the top dogs in there with Kleinman.
They're going to be
there,
Kansas State like they are every year.
Yep.
Iowa State's always got a shot with Campbell.
Yes.
You know, it's not the Big Ten, but it's Colorado's still going to struggle. You know, if he can't get them going.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't see Cincinnati being as bad come next year.
No.
BYU's probably going to improve.
Oklahoma State.
Okie State has been such an enigma this year. They played so well in so many games, and then I remember watching the Central Florida game, and they got annihilated.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a 2 or 3, it might have been 3 or 4 win UCF, and they just got smoked. I'm like, Jesus.
Didn't ASU beat the brakes off of them too?
I think so. I think that was one of their losses.
You know, but what Gundy's done at Oklahoma State over the years, like how long has he's been at Oklahoma State forever?
That's what I mean. He's got to be the next closest.
At Utah. Winningham at Utah's got to be the second longest tenured, I think. But Gundy's right up there.
Yeah, it feels like he's been there since I was a kid.
Yeah, I think Utah's 20, maybe 21 or 19, and then Gundy's 19. Of course, it's Iowa's coach is the longest team. Then I think it's like someone like Middle Tennessee State and someone else.
Man.
Which actually at Middle Tennessee State, that's pretty wild that somebody's there that long, because that's definitely a stepping stone school, you would think. You know,
yeah.
If you can go win there, you're going to go bigger, right? Like that's kind of your thought process at a mid Tennessee State. You know, I can see Gundy and that goes back to what Kenny was saying. Is like, you got a good thing going there. Why leave?
Ego.
All right, well, I'll give you guys some defensive clips real quick. There's only, 5 of them, and it's the 2 blocked field goals and then how the defense stepped up in that final drive where it looked like, when Tommy Hill picked it off, looked like it was going to be our day. And then ultimately the block in the back pushed us back to the 50, which, man, had that not happened, we needed, maybe 5-10 yards to put it, just to give Albano a shot. Just to give him a shot. But here it is, the first blocked field goal. I mean, holy hell. I've seen them get pushed like that all season long, but I didn't see them get blocks. So you get that one. Like I said, I'm going to rapid fire through these ones. It's just quick as hell. This one I couldn't believe because he made the first one. The practice kick there. And somebody called timeout, I think, and
well, it was like delay a game. It was a penalty.
That's it. Thank you. Couldn't remember. Yeah, the fact that happened and what the announcers were saying. Look, I know a lot of people were giving the announcers shit through that game, but there were times where they did make me laugh. They're like, just, some of the things they've said, and a lot of people give RG3 shit. I love hearing him call games. I love Griffin calling games. So I don't care. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Late in the game, that stop right there, that was huge. I cut out the celebration because he threw a bowling ball like we were going bowling, and I didn't want anyone else to see that. So, I tried to cut it about as short as I could. I didn't want him to feel stupid if he ever saw this. The sack right here. Huge. I mean, that defense is just relentless this year.
Well, the tackling has gotten so much better.
It did.
Oh man, it what a difference, right?
Oh, God. Yeah, it's amazing what they can do when they actually tackle during practice and everything. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. And then I've got to show it because this is when we all felt like, holy shit, we're going to do it. Tommy Hill making that pick. And look where he goes out at even. Almost the 35. And that block in the back pushed us back to midfield. I could have pulled the clip of Purdy's interception, but I was like, no, that's a dick move.
That would have been rude of you.
Very much. And I've already apologized to the young man, so I think I'm just going to leave that out. But I think we can all agree defensively, Coach White has done a phenomenal job with that defense, implementing a new base scheme and just overall having the same personnel and doing so much more.
So White's he's getting a pay raise, right?
Oh,
that's happening.
I think so, but
now because he's at $1 million right now, right? And Sat's at 1.4. Where do you put White at?
1.4.
Yeah.
1.4, 1.5. You get him. I think you get him over Sat, don't you?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, 1.5 or something. Yeah.
Because I don't know. If
you don't want to be. What we don't want to be is overzealous like we were before.
Yep.
So I was gonna say, you don't think we have to bump him to $2 million or anything?
Not that high. Because we've seen where overzealous can get us. Remember, like I said, I remember everything. I remember when Scott's first year, and then all of a sudden they paid him, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what's going on? Why are we doing this so soon?" And everyone on Twitter, hey, he's our guy. The normal cliches we hearing, the same we hearing about the coach now, of course, and what we heard about Mike Riley, and blah blah blah. And I was like, it's too early to be paying him.
Yeah. See, and I argued for it by saying that it would help recruiting because it's showing that we're committed to not having the revolving door. Yeah. And so we're like, hey, you can come in here and this is going to be your coach for your whole 4 years. And you know what I mean? So
we can say that back in the days.
Yeah.
But now,
hindsight's a little different now.
Yeah, this is a whole different ball game because you got to think about it. Back old Nebraska, everybody knows those coaches were there forever.
Yeah,
you knew where you were going. Old Florida State, those coaches were there forever.
Yeah.
You knew where you were going. You know what? Old Michigan, them coaches were there forever. Oklahoma, they were there forever. Yep. So, I mean, I say 1.8, 1.5, 1.7, somewhere more than that because he outperformed his duties and what we expected this year with Trev, and give him the little bump and see. Sometimes you just have to know you are a defensive coordinator and you are a position or coordinator and not a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people feel like the ego thing. I got to be a head coach because when you need to know I'm great or I'm good at being a coordinator.
Just be a great OC.
It's so many more responsibilities because now you just don't have to deal with your guys in your position on your side of the ball as a coordinator. As a head coach, you have to deal with the personality of every single kid on that team.
And not even just the team. You're dealing with the whole college when you're the Husker head coach. You know what I mean? Like you got to go be supporting volleyball and baseball and basketball.
So much more to that role than people. Right. So much more to that role than people tend to realize. I just think they tend to pigeonhole it. It's just head coach. No. You're dealing with the athletic department, you're dealing with the booster club, you're dealing with this, you're dealing with that. When you can just say, I just really want to be a great coordinator. Hell, it took how many years? Venables, Oklahoma's coach? 20-some years as a coordinator.
I was actually going to just bring him up too, because how much was he making at Clemson?
I think he was pushing $2 million.
He was pushing 2, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was paid high. He was paid high over there.
Well, look how that defense was playing, too.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, he deserved it. Tony White definitely deserves to be paid more than Satterfield right now, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, if Sat's getting 1.4, I'd say at least 1.5, 1.6.
But with the pay raise also comes expectations.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
You know, you're gonna get a big bump. You gotta go perform next year too. You know,
And White's got the personnel coming back, so I think he'd have the confidence in knowing he could.
Yeah.
Holy shit. God, what could have been? Guys, what could have been this season?
Well, let's just hope they get a 5-7 bowl game.
Yeah.
They can.
And it also goes back to, though, like that first game of the season. You know, like
Minnesota. Fuck.
Dude,
like,
we lost our first game the same way we lost our final game.
Yeah. You know, it just makes me, and it does, and this, you know, what ifs, you know, but God,
I think if we're at home for that game, we win it though.
well, even if you go and play Northern Illinois and who's the other team?
Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech, right?
Yeah.
Like you go play those two games first, and then you play Colorado and play Minnesota. Like, how much does that change things?
Yep.
Yeah, we probably would have known the problems Sims was going to have by the time those two games were over with. So, oh, yeah, shit, I don't know. Those games could have turned out a lot different had we started with that, though.
Right. Kenny, I got a question for you on the turnover situation.
What you got, brother?
Okay. So, like, how much of that shit's mental, right? Like, you playing high school ball, like, you know to hold on to the ball. Like, you're working on that shit in practice. You know, like they say they're working on it or whatever. You're working on, you know, holding on to the ball and whatever. Like, how much is that, like, you overthink it a little bit? Like, when you're running the ball.
90%. 90%.
Like, if you just
going to say 90%.
Is it one of those things that, like, if you just stop talking about it, can that go away?
Yep.
No,
absolutely. I mean, it's. I say that because it is, because you're worried. It's like we've all played sports. It's almost like when we've all played sports, and we've all seen that team. We've all seen that teammate or been that player to where you were scared to make a mistake because you know you were going to get pulled. And you know how that affects you.
Yeah.
So when you're out there worried about turning it over all the time, you're going to make those mental mistakes. You have to forget each play after you do it. Once that play's over, that's it. And if they're worried in practice and consistently worried about turning the ball over, it's over. You have to let that go. And you have to play, I would say, not regular, but you have to play what I don't give a damn. You know what I mean?
They got to be loose and not so tight.
Yeah, because when you're playing that way, you're going to do the same thing.
You know,
so do you not think? I mean, we can all say, do we not think it was on Chubba's mind about throwing a pick or doing something at the end of the game? It's mental.
Probably.
That'd be right.
Mental.
But he's also pushing in that situation. You know, he's trying to make a play. That's
right.
That's a situational deal, I think, with him on that. Because other than that, he's made some really good decisions running out of bounds, you know, and not making that dumb throw right there at the last second.
Accurate.
You know,
it's just
a little more air under that last ball, and it's probably complete.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but think about Sims. Mental.
Wow, Jesus. Quicksand.
Man. Thank you, Shawn. That's exactly what I was saying.
So when he's getting in there after not playing, he's worried about not making a mistake and turning the wrong way on the play.
I have heard though that Sims does suffer from having really bad anxiety, and that's
so there you go.
That is not the position for that type of disorder.
No, it's not.
My college baseball coach said something to me that is like, I've used it when I coach softball and stuff, and it's one of those things that just, I feel like this is an absolute thing that pertains it to, is like what the difference is between a high school athlete, a college athlete, and a pro athlete is the time that they get over a mistake. Like on average, it takes anywhere from an hour to 2 hours for a high school player to get over a mistake that they make. It takes the average college athlete anywhere from a half hour to an hour to get over a mistake. And it takes the average pro 4 seconds to get over a mistake that they make.
Damn.
You know, and like that's one of those things that has just resonated with me, is like, you move on, you know, but it's like you watch Sims play and it's a fumble. And then he's still thinking about it, because then he does it 3 plays later, you know, like that shit's in his head. I think the kid's an athlete, man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
After 7 weeks off, and he comes
went
in.
To Georgia Tech, so you know he's not dumb, right? Yeah. Like, and to be a quarterback, you got to be pretty smart. You know, you're processing a lot of information at a rapid rate. It's just one of those things where It's in your head and you can't let it go. You got the yips and you can't ever get over it.
Totally agree.
When you're out for 7 weeks and you're supposed to be working on everything, first of all, getting 100% healthy, you're supposed to be going over your fundamentals, your playbook, your film, everything. And your first play in after all that, you turn the wrong fucking way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That tells me you didn't learn shit or your mind is not in there.
But I also feel like everybody's writing him off because everybody's like, well, he's transferring. He's doing this. Why are we pushing him out? He still has 2 years of eligibility.
He does.
You know, why are we pushing him out? He's an athlete, man. Like,
he could be a receiver.
He could still be a quarterback. Like he still has 2 years, guys. Like the stuff that he's messing up, it's not an athletic ability thing. It's not that he can't make the throw. It's not that it's for me, and what I guess I see out of him is it's a confidence thing for him.
Yeah.
Big
time. Can we give him some CBD before he goes out there? Help him chill out a little bit.
I got a pen that might help him. I got one that might help him. I'll give it. Look.
Well, now we got to make sure he can still pass his piss test, Brian.
And he will. He will. That's the thing. He will. That's the greatest part. It's all legal. It's at my buddy's shop. We'll get him a deal with them, a sponsorship somehow. We'll figure it out, dude.
That's a new NIL. Amigos is gone, but we'll get him on that.
Oh, man. My buddy Chris at CNS would love that, dude. Oh, man.
But that's why I'm not ready to give up on him. I don't want to see him leave. I don't want to see him
He is an athlete.
Transfer, you know,
he is an athlete.
Same thing with Harburg, and I've been real critical of him because I know where he went to high school. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think he's ready for it. But shit, he's sick. What is he? He's 6'5", 6'6", 220-pound guy that can.
6'4",
he runs like a 4. He runs like a 4.6 40.
Yeah,
the dude's an athlete.
He's a big kid.
Like
they had him at tight end.
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of the athletes. I don't want it. I don't want that.
No.
When was he at tight end?
At the beginning of the season, he even caught a pass from Sims
at Minnesota. Yeah, he caught a pass at Minnesota.
I mean, he's still listed as a quarterback and everything, but during that first game, they just had him in there for just like a snap or two, Kenny.
Yeah, and he caught a pass from Sims for a first down, I think.
How in the hell did I miss
throw
that?
Defense off.
Kenny, how the hell did I miss that?
That's that memory.
As we get older.
I thought you remembered everything.
And the eyesight.
Yeah.
Oh, hell. Shit, guys, we've already gone an hour and a half already. Man, I think we covered everything. We could easily go on for another half hour to an hour, but I do work tonight, so I want to make sure I get this out tonight.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to contribute to everybody being depressed. Keep going on talking about those fools.
Yeah. See?
Well, hopefully there's still a little magic and we can actually get into a bowl game yet. I don't know what the situation is there.
Happen.
I think it would be huge for this team to get extra practices.
They need it.
They need it. And just to keep them going a little bit. Not have that fun. Yeah.
They could surprise whoever they end up playing if they get in. We did that year against UCLA.
Momentum in the offseason.
Could be enough time to reset.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That year we played UCLA at 5 and 6 or 5 and 7, whatever we might have been. They had Josh Rosen at quarterback. Yep. It looked bleak at first, and then all of a sudden they just got their shit together. It looked like a totally different team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Monty Cross was killing them. I remember that game. Oh my God. The catch by Stanley Morgan in the corner of the end zone, one arm. I mean, holy shit. That team just had their shit together that game.
Yeah, I forgot about Amani Cross. He was nice.
Oh, they were pissed. And come to find out, Amani Cross apparently coaches here in my hometown at Midland University.
Really?
Oh, he
for
does?
The football team. Apparently so.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I'll have to double check that, but yes, the Planet Fitness that I go to here in town, apparently I missed him by like 5 minutes. The guys there know I'm a huge Husker fan. They're like, you never believe it was just in here. I'm like, well, what the fuck is he doing here? And they're like, he coaches over at Midland, and I think he's like a running backs coach or something, or special teams. So, yeah.
Sweet.
And their head coach is Jeff Jamrog.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They had Eric Crouch was their quarterback's coach at one point. This was a few years ago. So yeah, Midland pulls in some former Huskers and shit
Nice.
for coaches. It's funny.
Yeah,
That's great.
well, I guess you look at UNK. They've got who was
Held.
our running?
Held.
Yeah, Ryan Held's the head coach at UNK.
Northern Iowa's got Gans, and I think Gans. They've had a couple of different Huskers coaching over there.
Man, I remember Joey. I ain't gonna lie, I liked him when he was the quarterback coach here. Or what was he, like a helping quarterbacks coach, whatever?
A grad assist?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I liked him when he played here too. Yeah,
Joe Gans was a gamer, dude.
Oh God, tough son of a bitch, and not that big either. He was not that bigger than Matt Turman, but not by much.
The Terminator.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started. Matt Turman's one of my favorites of all time, man. For a guy his size, I looked up to him, and not many people did, but I was shorter, so I did.
Terminator.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and shut her down for now. This is the season finale, unless we make the bowl game. But I think you all know by now where to find the show. You see it right there, Twitter and Instagram at Husker Army Pod. Just Google us. You'll find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, more. Holy God, I swear that gets longer every time I say it. You can see where to find Kenny. He's always there for great conversation and plenty of smoke if you need it on Twitter, at Husker Noop 1911. So, Andrew, where's everybody going to find you guys and your podcast at Big Red and More?
We're everywhere too. We're on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, everything. Just Big Red and More podcasts, the and spelled out. You can find me and Shawn down here on our Twitter handles, and come check us out. We appreciate you guys having us, man. It's been a good time.
Yeah, this has been great.
Dude, I couldn't wait to have you guys on.
Man. Appreciate it.
I almost fucked it up too. Remember, Andrew? I thought for some odd reason we had another bye week and we didn't. I'm like, oh shit. We've only got like 2 episodes left then. Shit, we need to have you guys on like for the Iowa game now.
Yeah.
So it actually kind of worked out because we could vent all our fucking frustration out on this one.
Yeah.
It'll be better next year. It'll be better.
It will be.
It will always be better next year.
It will be. Hey, I'm telling you, not just a bowl game, but fuck it, Indy. We're going to fucking Indy. I fucking said at the beginning of this last season here, and by God, I was this goddamn close to being right. That's what pisses me off, even at the shit start we had. So, all right. So for myself, guys, you kidding me? We're gonna have you on again this next season. You can fucking count on that.
Yeah, we'll have you guys on ours too, for sure.
Oh, yeah, and I'm so glad you guys decided to start doing the YouTube thing. I fucking love watching you guys now. Getting to see your guys' facial expressions and reactions along with your commentary. So much.
Up a lot, so it's hilarious.
Dude, so much better. So much fucking better. I love the visuals. So you guys are killing it. Keep fucking doing what you're doing. All right. So, guys, for myself, Brian Knutson, former Husker wide receiver national champ Kenny Cheatham, and from Big Red and More, Andrew and Shawn, for the last time this season, Husker Army, you know what to do. At ease, you are all dismissed.